This is the ultimate underground car. It's called the Jaguar XKRR. It's lowered, it's got racing seats, racing seat belts. There's somewhere in there to put your helmet. It's got enormous wheels. It's got exhausts by Matrix Churchill. It's a concept. But unlike the R Coupe that we saw at the start of the show, this one actually works. Unlike any XK that's gone before, this one has a manual gearbox, and you can do 58 miles an hour in first. They've also changed the rear suspension, which was always an XK Achilles heel. In fact, they've changed the entire rear end and fitted a limited slip dip, which means you can do this.
If you try to do this in a normal XK,
Woo-hoo.
you'd spin. But this just grips and goes. It's a cat. Gone feral.
I love this car, but sadly, they can't put it into production because Jaguar has a sister company, Aston Martin, and this would jump up and down all over Aston's new car, the DB7 GT.
This shape has been with us for 10 years now, but neither time nor Aston's misguided attempts to improve it with new wheels and flared sills have managed to ruin it.
For the GT, they've really gone mad. There's a new boot lid with a sort of spoiler on the end of it. There are lumps on the bonnet with louvres, and there's a new radiator grille. Now, all these things are terrible, but look at it this way. When Sean Connery grew a beard, my wife still fancied him. Inside, you still get a handmade feel. When I close the centre console lid, for instance, the ashtray opens. And this window doesn't close properly, so once you're going more than, say, 50 miles an hour, you get a little squeak of wind noise. Mind you, that's not the most annoying sound that the Aston makes. You can stop this bong by closing the door, but then when you turn the ignition on, you get a new bong. It's presumably for the American market. Remind them that they're in a car. Actually, you couldn't sell this to an American. You wouldn't fit. I mean, I don't. There's nowhere for my left leg. There's nowhere for my head. You have to remember that underneath everything, this is basically a Jaguar XJS. It's a 30-year-old design. And how much are they charging for all this? £104,000.
It's time, therefore, to tuck the DB7 up in bed with a nice mug of cocoa and let Jaguar make that brilliant XKRR instead. Except for one tiny detail.
This GT version is not just a cynical marketing exercise. It's not just a beard to cover up the wrinkles. What it is amazing.
But it is epic fun.
The old DB7 was never that much cop to drive, but in this they've been through it with a fine-tooth comb, changing just about everything. Rear wishbones, damper settings, they've stiffened up the bushes at the front, and I cannot tell you, I cannot stress enough just how much of an improvement it is. It's not just better than the old DB7. I don't know of any other car which offers such an intoxicating blend of grip, handling, and surprisingly, ride comfort. Oh, and there's something else in the mix as well. Power! God, it's fast!
Sounds good too. Listen to this. The 6-litre V12 is more powerful than you get in a normal DB7, and then there's its party piece.
Let me show you something. I'm going to stop, put it into 4th gear, and off we go. Sets off fine, in 4th, foot's hard down, and we're now going 40 miles an hour, 50 miles an hour, 60 miles an hour, 70, 80, really into its stride now, 90, 100, really gathering pace. Still in 4th, I haven't changed, 120, 130 miles an hour, 135, we're on the rev limiter. That's 0 to 135 in 1 gear.
For the last few years, the DB7's been an engine rocker, still trying to cut it in a Coldplay MP3 world of Porsche 911s and Foo Fighter Ferraris. But now, thanks to a cocktail of Botox and Viagra, it's up there with the best of them.
What a car!
I know. The thing is, I really don't like all these sort of bumps and louvers they've put on it, so I had a wizard wheeze, like Boris Johnson has. Anyway, what you should do, buy a used DB7 V12, OK? Take it to Aston Martin, and I've checked they can do this. They will put the GT suspension stuff on it, and then you can have one of these. They'll even do the engine as well if you want. I mean, that's brilliant.
Yeah. So how much does that cost then, Jeremy?
Well, used DB7s are around about, I don't know, 60, get a good one, and then 10 to 12,000 for the suspension, and another 10, though, you don't really need it for the engine.
That's brilliant. Is that your idea of a used car tip? So what you've done is take a really expensive car and turn it into, well, it's still a really expensive car. It's 80 grand.
It's all part of the Top Gear service. As, of course, is our lap, so it's time to pump up the Stig, see how fast you can make it go round. So away he goes. Ooh, lots of wheel spin there. And up to the first corner. 6-litre V12 working hard. Stiggy's in a mellow mood, I think, today. Now, down to Chicago. Tidy. Last week he had the Alpina ZA, it was rubbish on the road, set a blistering time round our track. The Aston probably going to be the other way around. Look at it in the hammerhead. It's that soft suspension makes it so good on the road. Oh, that is really mad driving from the Stig. Not sure it's going to be fast here. That's what worries me. That is very fast through the follow-through. Down to the penultimate bend, sliding all over the place. Whoa, Stig, come on, up to Gamble, lurching in several different directions here. And across the line in 1 minute, 30.4 seconds.
That's actually very quick. And do you know what? Aston Martin reckoned it would have gone even quicker, but it had a full tank of fuel, and that slowed it up a bit. But that puts it there. It's faster than an Audi S4, just behind the AS1.
And behind the Alpina, but I don't care, because as road cars go, that's one of the best I've driven in years. Now, who'd like to see the XKRR do a lap? Yes. So would we. Trouble is, since I drove it, it's been back to Jaguar, and for reasons I don't fully understand, they've been fiddling with the rear suspension. So when we rang them up and said, can we have it back for the Stig to do a lap, they said, well, yes, but it's handling at the moment like a greasy weasel. And they said they didn't think the Stig would want to drive it in that state. And they probably have a point. He wouldn't have done, if we'd have told him. Here he comes now, down the first corner. Getting himself all... Oh, look at already! Come on, Stig, try to stay with it. Oh. And that's a full 360 from the Stig. Across the line. Backwards. Good old Stig.